Welcome to the CSN3M podcast. I'm Andrew Wade with Case Specific Nutrition. This channel, we focus on mentoring, mindsets, and myth busting, all as they pertain to health and nutrition. Today's topic falls in the category of mindsets, and I'm going to talk to you today about how academics conditioned us to fail at weight loss and lifestyle change. So yes, you can actually blame school for this a little bit, but it's our job as people that are constantly learning to try and work on changing our mindset. What I like to call the grading scale of weight loss. When we were in school, as young kids, we were taught a very, very basic concept, which is failure is bad, passing is good. And unfortunately, we were given grades, which while there was a spectrum of them, right? A, B, C, D, F. Unfortunately, there was also a comparison in that, where if you got a B, even though technically that means you had a very fair understanding of the content that was presented, you were easily compared to someone who had an A, which made you feel inferior, which we can go on a completely separate tangent and discuss why, in many ways, this leads to people with independent minds choosing not to engage or try at all because of fear of failure. But what I'd rather focus on is what that trained us to do and how we now react as adults, for the most part, in a weight loss type environment or really any goal. So for this, there's a little bit of a mentoring aspect to it. Be sure to be thinking about how this applies to your professional aspirations, potentially your social aspirations or relationships. But we're going to focus on this in the world of weight loss, which we see too often. Unfortunately, I see this time and time again in my private practice. People get into this mindset of they're either on their plan or they're off their plan. Or they say, ooh, I fell off the wagon, but I'm getting back on track. Or they delay engaging in any sort of lifestyle improvements because there's a fear of failing. And part of the problem is that our culture is, instead of focusing on lifestyle change, focuses on weight loss as a sport, meaning how fast can you lose weight? And that's probably where I see it most often, is you see these people doing really extreme diets, and unfortunately to the normal weight loss population, they're seen as the A student, right? They're losing really quickly, which means they must be succeeding at a hyper level. And you know what? I can't succeed that well, so why even bother? And we need to take a step back for a moment and think about the reality that weight loss is not a race. The race is not the point. Your rate of weight loss does not matter at all. The entire point of weight loss is as a side effect. A way to think about it is if you are eating and you currently weigh 300 pounds, and in an ideal world where you're in a more balanced place physically and mentally, you weigh 240 pounds, you can either try and lose weight by eating like you weigh 100 pounds, starving yourself and flying down on the scale, which most people do. They lose weight quickly, they get to 240, but then they don't know how to be 240, so they either eat like they're 100 pounds or 300 pounds, so they yo-yo up and down. Or you could learn to eat like you're 240 pounds. You could learn to move in a way that the 240-pound you moves. You could learn to vacation or holiday in the way the 240-pound you holidays. And what that does is over time, you will become that person. You will become that lighter person. And you may not lose weight as quickly, right? This may not be the fastest way to lose weight, but the argument is this would be the more sustainable way to lose weight. And the reason I present this is because we realize there's two very opposing viewpoints. People are grading themselves based on how quickly they can lose weight, when in reality, the goal is not how fast you get to the goal. It's how well you arrive there, stay there, and then passionately and happily live there. And so we're grading weight loss and lifestyle change all wrong. We're using the wrong parameters to measure success and failure. And unfortunately, we're completely ignoring the fact that there is everything in between. In the world of weight loss, it is about consistency of habits. It is about prioritizing self and finding things that improve your mental, physical, and personal well-being. That does not always have a measurement on the scale. A lot of weight loss journeys don't have to exclusively exist through the scale. But most importantly, We want to make sure that our mindset of comparing ourselves to others and giving ourselves a grading scale is not setting us back. And I can't emphasize enough the reality that success and failure are not the two choices. And more importantly, weight loss does not have to be equated to success and failure. We don't need to evoke these pressure-filled emotions when we're trying to change our life for the better. In the world of business, there's a lot of conversation about how academics negatively influences people that want to be entrepreneurs. And the biggest difference between someone who works full-time and someone who is entrepreneurial in many ways is how they look at success and how they look at failures. And most entrepreneurs would tell you that they look at failure as a chance to learn. And that's how we approach our lifestyle interventions at Case Specific Nutrition. There is no such thing as failure. There's only opportunities to learn and reflect, right? There's obstacles that are faced. Life always has its way of throwing curveballs. And we can either look at those as, threw me off the wagon, but I'm going to get back on, or we can look at them and say, oh, this is life in all of its beauty, form, and function, and these are the things that I'm trying to learn to navigate. I'm trying to learn to live like the healthier, more in tune me that has better self-care, given these constant changes. And the reality is, unfortunately, people don't do that, right? They spend their time focusing on trying to carve out time that they can just hyper-focus, right? When can I ignore all of my surroundings and ignore my life and just push forward? And I'll have people that for the first month or two will come in and they'll say that, oh, I wasn't really able to get on the plan, so to speak. And, this happened or this happened. And the reality is, I don't make plans for people so that they can ignore their life and follow it. I make plans for people to give them a reference point to expose the obstacles that they live in. Because all of us are busy, all of us have crazy lives, all of us have obstacles that make consistency a little bit harder, right? And so when we're trying to shift the mindset, when we're trying to change our life, the goal is not perfection. The goal is not to be the A student that makes everybody feel a little bit inferior. The goal is also not to be the B student that stops trying because there is an A student. The goal is to be somebody that's willing to look at what they do, how they do things, and positively and consistently try and learn from struggles and obstacles. And day in and day out, month in, month out, take these, what we call failures, as opportunities to learn, opportunities to step back and go, oh, that wasn't ideal, or I didn't feel my best doing that. What could I have done differently, or how can I navigate that differently? How can I tell myself a different story so that I can move forward and feel more proactive when I'm faced with a similar situation? So there you have it. Academics has conditioned us to basically go hard or not at all. It's forced us to try and define objective measures as success and failure, like the scale being the definition of weight loss or health improvement, and unfortunately how fast we lose weight as the scale of success, when in reality, those who are most successful are not the ones that are losing aggressively. They're the ones that are taking a step back, learning from their mistakes, struggles, obstacles, frustrations, or failures, if we want to use the F word, and then moving forward with a positive mindset. I'll add one more thought to that, and that is the MyFitPal people out there, or the tracking people out there. I can't tell you how many times I get people that come in their first visit and they say, I've been tracking every day for 1,000 days. And they're all proud of themselves, as if I should be giving them an A because they did their homework. And the first thing I always ask is, what have you learned from that 1,000 days? And most people stare at me blankly. And the reality is, the entire purpose of tools that dietitians and health and wellness coaches use to try and influence and encourage people is to learn. I don't want people to track their food every day because they need to be obsessive and be aware of every morsel. I use tracking as a way to inspire awareness, right? If I'm trying to help someone learn how to feel good energy levels, feel satisfied, feel satiated from a calorie intake that they might be not used to eating, tracking is a chance to do that, right? They can log their food and at the end of the day think, man, today I felt really good. What did I do well today? Oh, wow, look at how I spread my food. Or the opposite. Man, today I felt hungry and I felt weak and I felt tired. What was I missing today? All of these things, once again, a chance to learn. We are going to have days where we struggle. We're going to have days where we succeed. And we want to learn from both of those and continue to work towards finding that balance that we call health. Thanks again for listening as always. Please subscribe and share for content updates. For more case-specific nutrition content, you can also follow us on all social media. We are Case Specific Nutrition, and please feel free to visit our website, casespecificnutrition.com.